Hello, this is Lavinia at Cross Keys Crafts. Quite a few months ago, so long ago that I can't remember when I actually bought this, I got this stamp die. These were all the rage on the paper crafting YouTube channels and Facebook groups, and I thought, yes, I have to have one, and I ordered it, and I never used it. So I thought today I'm going to use this. Why I'm using this now is I think I said that in my last video, I just had this sort of revelation that I don't always need to craft on a large scale, and that I can actually create smaller things like tags and little things, and I thought these postage stamps would actually be great. If these are still available, I'm going to link to them below. I bought them through Amazon UK. They are from China, after all. They're from this Globland company. They do quite a few bits. I believe, I haven't used it yet, but normally the quality is quite good. And this came with loads of little dies. It's like a St. Patrick's Day set, so it's got rainbows and clovers here and coins and luck. So this is all to embellish, and also these ticket dies, but I haven't used them yet. I only just took it out. I removed all the bits in the middle, but anyway. So I think I'm going to create another Christmas card, and although I'm repeating myself a little bit, I will create a similar background to what I did in my last video, which means I would like to create a gel plate background using my, well, I would use my elements, but I think I've got this Spectrum Noir Frosty and Bright that is a little bit lighter than any of the Elements inks I have, so we'll be using those, and as I said, my Dinkles, and potentially a little bit of my silver watercolour. I'll have a think whilst I get all my stuff ready. So I've got my supplies ready. Before I forget to say that, if you haven't got any of these postage dies, you can obviously just cut squares, rectangles, just with your scissors, with your trimmer, it doesn't really matter. Or if you've got one of those fancy crafting scissors, you can just cut your own postage stamps. So it doesn't mean if you don't have these dies that you can't recreate something similar. So I've got my gel press here again. I've already forgotten whether I mentioned that. If you don't have a gel press, you could do some ink smooshing. It's just about putting some ink blending. It's just about putting some colour down in the background. Or you could already use coloured cardstock or work on white. So I'm just applying the ink all over. As I said, I want a light coverage. It's always a bit tricky to see how much ink you've actually got on this. But with this project, I'd rather have a little bit less. I'm just moving it about a little bit without taking too much off. I will actually, although I will be using this piece of cardstock, I will just test a little bit. I think there's more on this than it actually shows. And then I've got my Dinkles here in the pot. I haven't mixed any more than I had last time. Just trying to get the lid off without it spilling all over. Let me just do this off camera. So I've got my white here. Quite like the idea, I have plenty of that, so I'm just putting this into my, putting my fan brush into the white, and then I'm just, well, the idea is to sprinkle it, not to have big blobs like that, but you will see the look will be quite nice actually. So then I will use the blue. I don't want this to be too dark. This is the Blue Dragon, it's called. And gel press, if you have worked with this before, you know you can't really predict how this turns out, or not fully anyway. I should have covered my desk a little bit more. So, and then I've got my silver watercolour here. I've linked to that below, and I'm just putting some water. Just put some water in here. Apologies, I've got the door open and the phone's ringing. Bear with me. Apologies for that. That teaches me to close my door even if I'm on my own in the house. So, and I'm just, same as with the sprinkles, I'm just splattering this over, and it's a very fine splatter, but hopefully this will show nicely afterwards. See if I can get a few bolder ones. That's probably, if you want bigger splats, use more water. So, and if it wasn't in the small container, ideally you would have a fan brush for this as well. But it is spritzing because I can feel it in my face. Never mind. So I'm taking my piece of paper here, and yes, I've got this on this side, but I want to just use the back. And this is my usual 300 GSM. That's also linked below. I find this works great with water. It's a good heavyweight cardstock. So, and I could have also moved it this way around, because then I can see what I have created. So the blue from the ink is actually quite light, and you can see where I've got the dinkles. They're quite dark actually. So, and as you can see, I always leave one side of my gel press on the acrylic sheet, and then it works again. Oh, I do like that. Can you see the shimmer of the silver? That's really cool. Yes, it is quite dark here, but I might not need all of that anyway, so some of that might be cut away or I could use for a different project, but that's really cool. So I'm going to leave that to dry for a moment, and then I will die cut my stamps from that. I thought originally whether I should create the images first and then die cut, so they would be less fiddly, but I think it would be tricky to then judge where you have to stamp. I have die cut my piece, and I've got quite a big piece left over for another project, which is good to know. But I didn't think this through. I didn't realise that these would stay together, which is quite a nice look, but it's not what I want for this card. So I will just use my scissors and I will cut these apart. I'm trying to stay within the middle of these dots. Might be a bit tricky, but then it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I have to see whether the outside actually matches the look of these stamps when I do that. Can cut across here actually. There we go. Yeah, that's not too bad. So one thing I can do to make this look more like die cut is, I learned that from Natalie from NB Cards, is to take a scoring tool, not a scoring tool, actually you're looking for one that's a bit bigger. Bear with me. Can never find that on my desk. Here it is. One of those tools here, and just go along the edges and just push the edges down a little bit, and then it looks like you've die cut them. It's not a huge difference, but it makes a slight difference. So I will quickly do this off camera, so I've got individual postage stamps, and then we can continue. I have realigned my bits here on the die. Reason being is, if I know they are in this order, I know I can spread them out on the card, so I know which way around they have to be. So I'm not accidentally, for example, having this one this way around and then can't arrange it on the card. And I have chosen a few of my new stamps. I've got Edward and Annie down here, the two little robins. This is the Joy from the, I can't remember whether they're called Christmas sentiments here. I'm going to link to all of them below. I've got the mistletoe here. I've got the mini holly, and I've got the street light here as well. Obviously that won't fit on there completely, but I'm thinking about putting it in the middle. And one little tip as well, sorry that gets caught there, Edward is facing this way or even up, so he will go at the bottom stamp here and Annie will go at the bottom stamp there. I know I'm cutting them off, but that doesn't matter to me. And yeah, they are still black from my last project. I haven't even cleaned them, but it doesn't matter. So well, actually, sorry about that, move that out of the way again so that I can work on this. If you wanted to, you could put a little bit of removable adhesive on the back so it stays in place, because obviously these are quite fiddly, but I think I'll be okay. And at first I thought I'd stamp in a different colour, like in a dark blue, but then I thought, no, I'm going for the black. I quite like the look of the solid black on the lighter background. Ink this up thoroughly. So I'm placing him down, not too close to the top. I want him to have a little bit of space, but trying to have him sort of in the middle. And then I need to leave that for a moment, because obviously we've got quite a bit of ink on the paper already. I've got the silver specks that might actually resist the ink a little bit. So we give this a little moment to seep into the paper. And I'm expecting actually when I lift it up to be stuck to the stamp, so I need to be mindful. Yeah, see, it sticks. So when I take it off, I would just flick it off like this rather than shifting it off like this. Yeah, and as expected, the silver actually resists the ink, but that doesn't matter. I think that's okay if you've got the solid stamp. And if you have it like this, you can't see the silver, but against the light it shows, so that's actually quite nice. So I don't think I need to show you how I stamp all the others. Same thing, same technique, and to keep this video short, I quickly do this off camera as well. I have stamped all my images. I also introduced the mini pine cone here because I needed something to fill the space and I didn't want to have duplicates. And with the holly here, I was tempted to do some second generation stamping, as you do sometimes, but I decided no, I want first generation and really just the black on these. But I just had an idea, but I'm not sure yet whether I will go through with that because I've got a bit of space here. And when I was in Germany a few weeks ago, well, a week ago really, I bought these stamps here, and there's some Christmassy stamps, but they've also got these postage stamps. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if I had traces of these postage stamps on here? I also have, my German bestie gave that to me, some more postage stamps here. So I'm tempted to do that, but I don't want to rush into it. I don't want to overthink it. I'll step away for a moment and have a little thought whilst I'm getting my background paper ready, because I would like to mat these stamps, and I decide from what I find in my cupboard, in my stash, whether I want to go for some blue or maybe even for some silver. I have decided against the postage stamps, but I did find the Lavinia snowflakes. These are the mini ones. We've got two bigger ones and then a set of 3. So I stamped these on a few of these stamps. So now I'm going to glue my stamps down. I want to leave a little bit of a frame around them so I can cut them easily. I will just cut them with my scissors. I'm not fussed about this, but obviously if you aligned them properly you could use your trimmer. And I'm just using my magic glue here, which needs a little bit of a shake. So making sure I'm not too close to the edge. I don't want this to ooze out. And just placing this down here. See, it's already oozing. Let me lift that off and dismiss that, because mirror card is not very forgiving when it comes to glue residue. Just contemplating whether this is not the right glue for this card, so I'm just dismissing that bit. Move that over here. So if you're not sure what glue to use, you could also use double-sided adhesive. So with this one here, I'll be a bit more mindful not to use too much, just enough to hold this in place. I think that might be enough there. So yeah, that's better. As long as I press down the edges, it should be fine. So I'm gluing the others down now, and then I don't think, oh, just go on focus, I don't think I need to show you that. I'm going to cut these with my scissors. Apologies for getting out of focus here. I've cut all my stamps out here. As I said, I just did it with my scissors, and I don't think it's very wonky. I trust my eye there. And I've also cut myself a card base. This is 5 by 7, and I just cut that from an A4 sheet. I fancied something different, so I reminded myself what I saw Tracy used recently. She used a grey piece of, well, grey card base. They do sell the round ones, but I just cut it myself, and I think this way it also makes a nice mail card. I think this works nicely, and also the grey with the silver I think looks quite good. So I've just laid out the stamps on here. I just put them in the order they have to be, but you've got options here again. First of all, you can put them on foam, or you can put some on foam. I personally like to keep my my cards a little bit flat. And then it's up to you whether you want to spread these out and have larger gaps in the middle, but I think I prefer them actually a little bit centered and rather have an even frame on the outside. And I think this is what I will do here. If you want to, you can measure that. You might even have one of those fancy frame tools, but I think this looks nice. So what I would do is I would put the corner pieces down first, and then I would put these two down, and I think this would look nice. I am contemplating whether I want a sentiment to go, if not across, because you can't go across his face here, but I could have one in the middle here. I've got some scrap of the card base here, so I could even have one on the side here. I'll have a little bit think about that, but otherwise I think my card is nearly finished. I quickly glue this off, down off camera again. So my card is finished. I decided against the sentiment because I theoretically have a sentiment up there, and I think it would be otherwise a little bit too full. So I'm just holding it up so you can see the shine of the matte mirror card there and of the silver paint. I think this is really pretty as it is. Doesn't need anything else. I would not put any embellishments here because you wouldn't have them on a stamp. If I used these, the mistletoe somewhere else, I would definitely put something on. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. I wasn't quite sure where it was going. Sometimes I've got an idea in my head, but yeah, I'm really pleased with this. And it's quite it's quite joyful and enjoyable. That's the word I was looking for. To just stamp on a little scale and stamp with these little dinky stamps. That is really, really nice, and I enjoy that at the moment. But as I said before, if you don't have stamp dies, just cut yourself some squares, rectangles, and you can create a similar card. Yeah, and if you like this card, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video.